Hi friends, welcome to WebCamp. In this video, I will discuss how to practice the tuples in Python. Obviously, it is a data structure and we have to do the operations on the data. But if you have the data in the tuple format, what you can do, what you cannot do, that's what I will discuss in this video. Okay, so we will go by the questions one by one. We will pick the questions and then we will write the code to answer that question. So let's say first question is you have to concatenate the tuple. So you can create the tuple 1 and tuple 2 with any random elements and then concat them into a new tuple. So obviously what I will do, I will consider first tuple as a T1 and here I will use the only numbers. Even that is fine. There is no restrictions to what to use and what kind of data we should use. But here I will use the letters. A, B, C, D, E. Okay. And now you have to concat this tuple. How to concat? Okay. So what we can do, we can use the plus operator to create the new tuple. Obviously, this is what the task we should do. And let me print the T and let's see whether it is able to return us the data or not. And in that case, if it is not returning, then we have to do some other code. Okay. So if I open the command prompt and if I write py 0_practice .py and let's run this. Okay, so by using plus operator, it is giving us the combined tuple or joined tuple as an output. Now next question is that let's say you have a tuple for few items like this. We will create the tuples. Okay, create a tuple and numbers with the some duplicate values and count how many times a specific value appears in tuple. Okay, how to do this? Okay, so let's say we have this kind of tuple and if I say 1 1 1 then 2 2 then 0 0 0 0 0 0. Okay, so like this we have values getting repeated so many times and you have to get the count of each value. So tuple supports the value. I mean, so it's method called count, and if you pass any value, it will return the how many times that value is exist. Okay, so this is a direct method that returns the a number of times existence of value. So we can say that one is exist in 3 times. Okay, if you want to add more one, so I can add like this. So now it will go and it will say 7 times because I have added 4 more ones. Okay, so this is what the output it expect. But the problem is what we have to do this for all the element. But if you want to do this for all the elements, obviously you need a unique values. So you can apply loop and you can remove the duplicates. That kind of code we can write, or you can create a new list. So I'm going to create a new list which will have the unique values from this tuple. And here I will use list comprehension I for I in T if I not in L. Okay, so this is how I'm going to create the new list. So if you try to see the output of this L, so you will understood what I am trying to do. Okay, L is not defined. Okay, so L is not defined before, and we have to do this. Okay, the problem is okay. Then is one more way to remove the duplicate is that we can convert this tuple into the set. So pass this into this set, and I will say yes. I will say yes. Okay, here I'm going to because set is a another collection which removes the duplicate and keeps only unique values. So okay, so if I go and if I run this, you can see that I have only unique values here, and for all those values we have to get the count. Okay, so here I will go and I will write the loop stating that for I in set, okay, I'm going to loop through the set for each of the element. So I will say I. So just see the output. It is going to return us, okay, set for I in set. Type object is not iterable. We can apply the loop. But why? Okay. Then again, this is another challenge. So it is better to create the new list. So I will say L is equal to L is equal to, I will create L here blank, and I will apply the loop for I in a T. Okay. And if I in L, instead of that, I will say if I not in L, then L dot append I. Okay. So this is how I have created a logic. It's very simple. I'm going to loop through this tuple, and for each of the value of this tuple, I will check if the value of I is existing tuple or existing list or not. If it is exist, it is not going to do anything. But if it is not exist, it should go and append. Okay, that's why I write like this, so that we will get the data, unique data, or in the list format. Okay, so now I have a list with the unique values. Okay, even that is fine. So now I will go and again apply the loops for I in L, right? And now we have to take the count, but I stores one value, right? So here I'm going to print the value of I, comma, then add some space or colon, and then after giving the comma, this is what the concatenation. So I'm going to print the value, and then I'm going to take the T dot count of I. Okay, so this will return us the how many times the value, each value is getting repeated in this tuple. That's why I use G here. Okay, so now let me run the code, and you can see that 1 is getting repeated 7 times, 2 is getting repeated 2 times, 0 is getting repeated 4 times, 4 is getting repeated 3 times, 5 is getting repeated 3 times, and 6 is getting repeated 5 times. Okay, let's count for the 6. Okay, so we have 5 times 6, right? So this is how you need to build the logic whenever you have to resign. You have to resolve these types of questions. Okay, so this is what about the tuple. Now, the question is, you have to create the nested tuple, meaning tuple inside a tuple, and then you have to access element from one of the nested tuples. So obviously, we will create tuple is equal to, and as items of tuple, so far we have seen we have values here, but you can insert the another tuple here like this. Okay, and if I say 1 2 3 4 5, again if I say 6 7 8 9, intentionally I'm going to create the numerical tuple even there is no issue if you create the tuple with another types of values, with values like your friends name and names and all. Now what we will do, so we will try to access the value. So we know that if we write like this, so it will return us the first element of outer tuple, right? And which is another tuple. So if I go and if I run this code, so you will see that first element is coming out, right? Again, this tuple has indexes, so you can use this kind of syntax. Again, you can write the square bracket, because this is going to return as the one tuple, and on top of that, if you write the index of element, if I say 2 as in next square bracket, so you will get the value of that specific element, right? So this is how you can do the accessing elements of tuples. Okay, now next question is, you have to create a tuple. So I will consider the already created tuple. And from this tuple, you have to find the minimum and maximum value. Let's see how we can find the value, obviously. So we need to do something. You can use min and max, but how to find the minimum value, how to find the maximum value? So obviously, if you sort this tuple, okay, so far it is not in sorted order. I will sort this. Okay, so there are many ways to build the logic. Okay, so if I say 10, 10, 15, 20, 20, 56, 88, 44, 35, and then 62. Let's say you have a tuple in this way. Okay. And you may want to find out the minimum and maximum value from this tuple. Okay, so I will say 6. So like this, if you have, so you can go and you can sort the data. Okay, if I say print t, and on next line, if I use the t dot print. Okay, so if before printing, I will use this sort method. Okay, but we don't have the way to sort because it's immutable, so it will might throw error. Okay, let's see whether it is doing or not. So obviously we don't have a method called sort on the tuple. So now if you want to change this, if you want to sort the data, if you want to rearrange the data, you need to convert this tuple into the list, and then you can sort this. Okay, so let's go ahead and convert. So I will say L is equal to list constructor I will use to create the list, and I will pass T to this list. Okay, so now I can sort the data here. Okay, and then again I will bring this to a new tab, meaning tuple called T1 is equal to tuple of this L. So let's see what this method is going to return us. This is not going to return anything. Okay, so it will modify only the L. It is not going to return new item. Okay, it is fine. So now if I try to print this T1, so you will see the sorted tuple, right? So now you have a tuple like this. So now if you want to print the minimum and maximum value, obviously if your tuple is sorted at 0th index, you will have the minimum value, and at last index, so T1 of ln of T1 minus 1 is the index I am going to pass. Okay, so length returns the number of items in the tuple. I will take the length, and if I subtract 1 from that, so that will be the last index of the tuple's last item. So this is how we can write. And if I say here like this, okay, minimum of and maximum of, there are many ways to do this. Okay, so it doesn't matter how you achieve your workaround, but yes, output is the matter only, no matter how you build the logic. Now we have a question on tuple unpacking. Obviously, we have seen this in my earlier video, what is tuple unpacking and all. So you have to create a tuple with the 3 elements, and then you have to use the tuple unpacking to assign the values to the name and our name, age, and job. Okay, so let's create the tuple. So I will say t is equal to, even you can write like this, John 30 and engineer. Okay, and if you want to do the unpacking, what you can do, you can use the variable name called name, comma, age, comma, what is next. So if I say age, after age, what is there? So it's job, I think. Yes, it's a job. So you have to say like this, and just pass the t. Okay, it is fine. And here pass one tuple. Okay, that the one that this is not accepting. Okay, fine. The problem is what, if you are creating a variables, you don't need to pass the that variables into the single quote or double quote. Okay, so it's like a variable, then it will happen, unpacking will happen. Okay, so now unpacking is done. Now if you try to print the values of name, it will return as the value. This is what the unpacking is. So you are getting John from this tuple, right? So this is how unpacking happens. Okay, now there is a question, even very simple, and many times people ask these kinds of questions while for practice. So swap the values of two variables using tuple unpacking. Okay, so this is what you have to do. So let's say you have a variable called a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20. You have to swap the value. So just create a tuple. Okay, is equal to a comma b. Okay, this is what your tuple. Now if you do the unpacking of this tuple with these values, so your values will get swapped. Now your b will be 10 and a will be 20. Okay, let's try to print b. So as I said, b will return us 10. So you are able to swap the values, yes, with the help of tuple unpacking. So this is how we can swap the values in Python. Okay, now next question is one very simple, but yes, the good question, very good question. So you have a list of tuples containing name and age of peoples. And you have to filter and create a new list of peoples, okay, who are above a certain age. Meaning you have to filter the data. Okay. So let's create one list. Inside a list, you have a tuples of, let's say, person called A, who is of age 40, Okay, this is what your first item of list. If I add comma and then if I copy this, okay, I will edit the values later. So these many are there. If I say 25, B, C, and 30, D, 32, E, 45, F, 58, G, 20. Then let's say G, H. Let's keep this as a 49, and last one G, H, I. And if I say this is equal to 23. Okay. So like this, we have a tuple. Okay. Tuple for each person name and its age, and all the tuples are combined into the one of the list item. The task is, whenever you have to filter the data from the age, you need to reach to this value of age first. So how to reach the value of age? Obviously, L of 1 is going to return us the first element, this tuple, right? Even though if I show you, even sometime before we have done this kind of exercise for the nested tuples. Now, if I show you, so this is returning us a one tuple. And out of that, if I go and if I extract the value, okay, so this will return me the age because I'm passing the index. Okay, index of 1 is the index of this tuple, and out of that, if I pass on top of that, so again second element from that tuple will be extracted. And okay, you have to check whether this condition, but here we have multiple items. Okay, so this index can be same. Okay, there is no change, but this we need to change. We need to change by using the loop. So I will use I here. Okay, before starting the loop, even I used I, and I'm going to create the variable. Okay, so for I in L, then I will write like this, and I will say give the condition if this is greater than 30. If this is greater than 30, so you have to say if this is greater than 30, then you have to create the new list, meaning you are not going to return the values of that is what we are extracting. You have to create the new list. So let's say L1 is equal to, I'm just going to create an empty list. So I will append L1 here. So L1 dot append, but what to add? So I have to add this entire tuple. Okay, so I will say L of I here. Okay, and now let's see what will be the output of L1. So if I go and if I try to print L1, so this will return me the people's tuple, or the tuples who is having the value greater than 30. Okay, 30 will not comes in a picture. Okay, 30 is not greater than 30. 30 is equal to 30. Okay, so it says if list indices must be integer, slice, or not tuple. Okay, then again, right here we cannot pass the I because I is a tuple. Okay, so here instead of this, I can use this I, and even I should go and use the I because I contains tuple, right? And now you can get all the values from the whatever the list we have created, who is having the age greater than 30. Here you can see that all the data has age greater than 30. Okay, so my bad, I missed it to say I is going to hold the tuple, not the items. Okay, so initially to show you I wrote like that, but I continued with that code itself. Okay, that was not correct. Okay, so this is how you have to consider. You have to build the solutions to solve your real-time problems, even if you are working in any of the organizations. So these kinds of situations, many situations will be there, and you may need to suppress the data based on the various conditions. So there you can use even else if you want to go through the each row of your data set. So you can use these kind of loops there. This is the example of tabular data. This is the example of tabular data. When you read the data from the database, or when you read the data from Excel file, so Python will read the data in this format. List inside a list, there is again meaning list of tuples. Okay, and tuple contains the values of rows. Okay, this is how you will get the data while reading from the database or while reading from the Excel file. Meaning whenever you have to deal with the tabular data. So this question is very much important with respect to that whenever you have to do something with the help of Python on your real-time data sets. So I hope you like the content of this video. Please share this video with your friends so that they can also learn. And do not forget to subscribe WebChamp. Thanks for watching the video. Have a nice day.